Before I get going, I want to highlight this really great custom college football league created by Jackrabbit JB. Sunday Rivals obviously leads towards pro leagues, but offering customization options to allow for other types of leagues like this one is still really important to me. This is a great league built around the Big Ten, with a few extra teams to hit 16 total. He did an amazing job getting all the uniforms, players, and ratings into the game. It has a little different feel from the default rosters too, which is really refreshing if you play the game alone. If you're interested in checking it out, he shared it on our Discord server, so stop by and download. And while you're there, stick around and talk some football with us. Speaking of, I keep receiving great questions from y'all, so I figured now's a good time to jump into part 2 of the community Q&A. I gathered a handful from Discord and YouTube comments, so let's dig in. Question 1 comes from Zlatan Sweden 10, who asks, do you ever think a deal with a small football league is possible? I love this question. For the Sunday Rivals that exist right now, I would say no. Mainly because I think a partnership would only be successful if the entire game centered around their league from the ground up. Trying to shoehorn their product into the game probably wouldn't work for either of us. But the idea is definitely something I wouldn't shy away from for a future product. So, if there was some new pro league, for instance, maybe one looking to restart itself in the next few years or so, and wants to partner with an already existing super fun football game, well, I'd definitely take that call. Question 2 comes from Paradox Fox, who asks, would you add a feature where you can make your own plays? This is a tough one because I know how much folks in the community would love to have this be a part of the game. The answer here, unfortunately, is again no, because I don't have the capacity to support the type of depth and the eventual issues that implementing a full-fledged play editor would bring to the game. Even a dead simple version would require a ton of work to fully support. I'm hopeful that the playbook update I mentioned in the previous video will help round out the admittedly limited selection of plays in the game right now, and there's no reason why I couldn't add more in the future too. Question 3 comes from DK11 and Solitude Dude, who asks, what are your plans for new presentation features during games? Intros and outros, more mid-play animations, season stat, milestone banners, etc. Combining two similar questions here again, I have pretty detailed plans for both pregame intros and endings worked out. It's just a matter of adding them into the game. The intro would set up the location, introduce the teams, and then transition into a coin toss. Then I'd like to have a few different endings, ones for normal wins and losses, and something special for winning the championship in season mode. I just need to get through some more pressing tasks before I commit time to getting this into the game. Likewise, I definitely want to bolster the post-play sequences with different cameras, animations, and stats, including, as you mentioned, season-specific ones that help tell the story of your team's progress. Some of the text you see on big plays like interceptions are pretty underwhelming and need to be more hyped up too. The other big area missing right now is a complete audio offering. Getting more sound into the game, along with things like stadium music, will go a long way. Question 4 comes from Unbreakable Iron Man, who asks, would it be possible to change the length of quarters? Yeah, good news on this front. I'll be adding customizable quarter length as part of season mode. You'll be able to go up and down to get the right amount of game time that feels best for you. I know there's folks on either side of the fence with how long the game takes, so best of both worlds when this change comes. Question 5 comes from I'm a Sad Pats fan, who asks, I was wondering if you're going to do trades in season mode. First off, don't be sad, Pats fan. You'll always have Sunday Rivals' high-powered New England team to remind you of the good old days. I don't think trades will be a part of season mode mainly because I don't feel like they have the kind of impact you get in a multi-year scenario. Typically, the big impactful trades you see take place in the offseason, in which case you can just edit those moves into your league before the season starts. Football doesn't really have the kind of drama around mid-season trades that you see in other sports. One thing that does happen in football is guys get rotated in and out of the lineup. Sunday Rivals doesn't have injuries, but something I'm exploring right now is the idea of a depth chart, so each team can have a few more guys to create different matchups with. I'm not sure of the implementation yet, but in terms of telling the story of the season, I think this feature has a lot of potential to mix things up. Question 6 comes from the previously mentioned Jackrabbit JB, who asks, what specific features are you planning to make sure season mode stays fresh after multiple playthroughs? Yeah, building off the previous question, I think ideas like the depth chart, adjustable coaching strategies, custom playbooks will all help add to season mode feeling unique for each team. But I'm going to continue to lean into the, quote, story of the season, knowing that I'm being intentionally vague here, because I just don't have all the specifics yet. I also don't have another game off the top of my head that I can point to and say, like they did in Game X back in the day. I think this is a feature that will come together slowly throughout the year, but hopefully will have the impact I imagine it can. Final question comes from Assassin, who asks, seeing as you're going to get asked this a lot, I might as well let it be in the video. What are your thoughts on franchise mode? Okay, settle in for a long answer. Franchise mode is a tough one because I'm well aware that it is in fact a deal breaker for some people. I can say with 100% certainty though, that franchise mode will not be in the 1.0 version of this game, as I'm putting all my effort into season mode. But there's two routes to explore here. First, the obvious route is to ask if there is a way season mode can be extended into multi-year. The answer is, I don't know. Without having a full grasp on season mode yet, I can't answer that question with any certainty. What I will say is, while I'm building season mode out right now, I'm actively trying not to close any doors or make any decisions that exclude a multi-year expansion in the future. If season mode turns out great and the natural evolution is to figure out a way to add continuous seasons to it, I'd love for that to be the path. Which leaves the second route, which is building a traditional franchise mode from the ground up. There are two significant hurdles that need to be called out. First, franchise mode is essentially a strategy game built inside of a football game. There is an entire genre of games out there that are focused solely on this aspect of the sport. More importantly, I'm sure you are all too familiar with half-baked, neglected franchise modes in football games. So to be clear, when it's done right, it's a major undertaking. Second, making deep, strategic football games is neither my passion nor my strength as a game developer. There's so many on-field things I'd much rather spend my time building and improving in this game, that it's hard for me to commit to giving all that up for a feature not everyone might use. After early access, if I add more presentation moments or animations or customizations, I know every Sunday Rivals player will benefit from those changes. But I know people play games for all different reasons, so I'm open to most avenues of expansion if they make sense. Let's hope the Sunday Rivals popularity in the future makes all these features a reality. That's all I have for this one. I appreciate everyone's feedback and comments on the game. It's been a blast so far, and there's so much more to come. If you haven't already, now is the best time to pick up the game if you're interested in supporting its development. Let's keep this going. Thanks for playing, y'all.